Imagine sitting at a wedding surrounded by music, laughter, and love, yet feeling completely invisible. No partner by your side, no familiar face to lean on, just you, alone in the crowd. And then, out of nowhere, a stranger leans in and whispers something so simple, yet so powerful, it changes everything. Welcome to English Stories with Sherry. Grab a cozy seat and let's journey through magical tales, classic stories, and everyday adventures, all in English. Learning the language has never been this fun. Sitting at the corner of the table, quietly sipping their drink, they looked around the room trying not to draw attention. The bride and groom were glowing. Their families were beaming with pride. Strangers leaned into each other's shoulders, sharing inside jokes. But for them, every smile from across the table felt like a reminder of their solitude. They tried to blend in, scrolling through their phone, pretending to check messages. But the truth was, no one had texted. No one was waiting for them to reply. It's an odd feeling, loneliness in a crowded room. Some people describe it as being surrounded by light but standing in darkness. And in that moment, they felt it deeply. Then, something unexpected happened. As the night carried on, a man, someone they hadn't noticed before, pulled out the chair next to them. He wasn't loud or flamboyant. He didn't come with an entourage. He simply sat down quietly, as if he had been looking for this exact seat all night. And then came the whisper. Not the kind of whisper that makes you lean back in discomfort, but one that feels like it was meant only for you. He leaned slightly closer and said, "Funny how you can feel more alone in a crowd than anywhere else, isn't it?" That single sentence cut through the noise of the party. It wasn't small talk. It wasn't a cliché pickup line. It was real. It was honest. And it was exactly what they needed to hear in that moment. For the first time all night, they smiled, not the forced smile they had been practicing for hours, but a genuine one. That whisper opened the door to a conversation. At first, it was about the wedding itself, the music, the food, the awkward speeches. But slowly, it deepened. They talked about how strange it feels to attend an event where everyone seems to belong, except you. They talked about family, about missed connections, about life's unexpected turns. And with every sentence, the loneliness began to fade. Now, here's the thing about moments like these. You don't always remember every detail. You don't remember the exact color of the tie he wore, or whether the song playing was a slow ballad or a pop hit. What you remember is the feeling, that shift from being invisible to being seen. From being isolated to being understood. That night, the stranger didn't rescue them, and they weren't looking to be rescued. It wasn't about romance or drama. It was about connection. Pure, simple, human connection. He told stories about his own life, how he had moved cities, how he had lost touch with old friends, how weddings made him think about the people he wished he could call. She shared her own truths about recent heartbreak, about the ache of watching couples dance while sitting on the sidelines, about the courage it takes just to show up alone. By the end of the night, the wedding itself almost faded into the background. The music, the speeches, the laughter, it was all still there, but what mattered was that someone had whispered the exact words needed at the exact right moment. And here's the bigger message: sometimes, life changes not in grand gestures or dramatic events, but in whispers. Quiet words that remind you you're not alone. We often underestimate the power of small human connections. We think life's turning points have to come from monumental changes, new jobs, new houses, big wins, or tragic losses. But sometimes, it's a stranger's whisper at a wedding. Sometimes, it's a conversation in the corner of a noisy room. Sometimes, it's the moment someone sees you when you thought no one did. That's what makes stories like this so powerful. Because it's not just about one person at one wedding. It's about all of us. About how we've all had moments of feeling invisible, moments of wondering if anyone notices us, moments of sitting quietly while the world spins loudly around us. And maybe, just maybe, it's about how we can be that whisper for someone else. Think about it. How many times have you noticed someone sitting alone at a party, on a bus, or even in a CAF? How many times have you wanted to say something, but held back out of fear of being awkward? What if your words were the ones they needed to hear? What if your whisper was the thing that made them feel seen? It doesn't take much. A simple acknowledgement, a shared smile, a sentence that cuts through the surface. That's the beauty of connection. It's not about fixing someone else's life. It's about reminding them they're not invisible. Back to the wedding. By the end of the night, the lonely seat at the table wasn't so lonely anymore. They left not with a love story, not with a dramatic twist, but with something even more valuable, proof that even in the loneliest moments, connection is possible. Proof that sometimes, when you least expect it, someone notices you. As they said goodbye at the end of the night, there was no grand promise. Just a nod, a smile, and the quiet understanding that two people had shared something real in the middle of a crowded room. And that's what makes this story linger long after the music fades and the wedding decorations are packed away. So the next time you find yourself alone at a wedding, at a party, or anywhere else, remember this: loneliness doesn't have to last forever. Sometimes, all it takes is a whisper. And the next time you see someone sitting quietly, looking invisible, ask yourself, could you be the one to whisper? Because in the end, life isn't measured by the number of parties we attend or the number of people around us. It's measured by the moments we connect, the times we feel seen, and the whispers that remind us we're not really alone. Thanks for listening to English Stories with Sherry. If you enjoyed today's tale, like, subscribe, and share with a friend learning English. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep learning, and keep listening.